For having me, Gary and Lucas. Good being here with you guys. So I've been doing this for about 10 years now, and before, how I got into home inspection was I saw, a mediocre home inspection, and I thought, this is something I can do. I turned to my wife. She says, "Well, you don't really like what you're doing now. Why don't you look into it?" So background, my dad had rental properties. I have, at the time, had rental properties, and we used to manage them. So knew the ins and outs of houses. And then when that time came, I took the laptop and Googled how to be a home inspector, and I was surprised at how much resource there was to do this and to do it properly. So I was already working in production and maintenance supervision at the time, and to do home inspection properly, there's a 2-year course, Carson Dunlop, and so I did that in my off time, and then after doing that, it was a matter of finding the business. I was always comfortable around homes, but it wasn't sure on how to actually get the business, so that's what took some time. But then after a few months of meeting people and pounding the pavement, it just slowly took off from there.
So I noticed you said that you searched on Google. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got into inspections like 10 years ago or more than that?
Yep.
And you searched on Google and started it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do it full time from the get-go, or were you doing part-time before?
Part-time. So there was because I was already working, and wife and family, it wasn't something that I just wanted to drop and then go into, especially if it's a small business that may or may not succeed. So there was some time when doing both at the same time, and then it got to a point where it needed full-time attention. So in order to do this successfully, I found that you have to be there, you have to be available.
Yeah.
And you call me sometimes,
Yeah.
and hey, what are you doing right now or this afternoon?
Yeah.
And if I'm available, and I'll definitely go and help.
It's always the question.
Yeah.
If I was working full time, and then, oh, sorry, I'm on afternoons, I can't go till Thursday or Friday. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this moment is passing, like right now, so we got to do it.
Yeah.
And I found that to be successful, you had to be there, and you had to be on call pretty much. And sometimes there's work, and sometimes there isn't. But then you take it as it goes. Some days are from daylight to day end, and other days there could be large vacancies, but that's part of it.
No, I'm sure. So market was very, very quick a few months ago. And I remember calling a few inspectors, and you were the one who were available right at that second, because we're going to talk about pre-inspection and full inspection later on, but full inspection wasn't the case because conditions were normal a few months ago. So we had to do pre-inspection, and you were always available. And that's a big thing, I think, because when you call around and somebody's available, you give them priority next time because this guy is always available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talked about where the market was last year and where we are this year. Last year we didn't have time for an inspection whatsoever. The pre-inspection was a thing. It wasn't really being used. Sellers wanted to sell now. Buyers didn't have time in the offer process. And now that we're seeing a mix of both, why is it important to get an inspection?
So when you're buying a house, it's good to get a good 360 of the house. So the home inspection process, you find a house that you like, and then if there's time to do the home inspection, the full home inspection, it's pretty much a head to toe of the home. So on the outside, looking at the roof, cladding, lots and grounds. On the inside, electrical, plumbing system, foundation, check for moisture. Moisture meter, got a thermal camera as well. Checking outlets for functionality, plumbing, and then looking at the attic for insulation and moisture. So it's important because you want to know what you're buying. You're spending several $100,000, and there could be issues that minor, and some could be major. Minor things like that have a big reward would be like extending a downspout 6 feet away from the house, so you don't have water pooling against the foundation. Downspout could cost maybe $10, $2 of your time. A bigger issue if there's seepage in a finished basement. So we're looking at instead of it being, a finished space that you're hoping to enjoy, we find moisture, and that could entail waterproofing, or if it's finished, removing the finishes, then doing the waterproofing, which could be tens, $20,000. So it's good to know what you're buying, or at least you have an idea when you're buying. You have a list of things that need to be done, need to be looked after, and even the basics: age of the water heater, furnace, AC. Those are items that a couple thousand for the water heater, furnace, AC, for about 4,000 each.
Yeah.
Good to plan. If it's a newer one, then you just have to worry about maintenance. If they're 20, 30 years old, then you want to plan for replacement. And there's always good things to know.
I heard something. Some people don't do inspection on new builds, right? Like it's just a general idea. It's a new house. We don't really need an inspection.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get your take on that. What do you think? Do you need an inspection when you're buying a new home?
Every house needs an inspection. So whether it's brand new or 200 years old, and the reason is, and I've encountered this twice, which I still can't believe. So brand new house. The first time I encountered it, I thought it would be the last time. So the guy's going through the build process. He says to me, something's not right. Like the house is, this is like start of the summer. The house is always hot. It's a brand new house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what's happening. The builder says, doors are open, windows are open. He goes, but it just doesn't, for whatever reason, the AC's on 24 hours a day. So it just didn't make sense. So I wanted you to come through. So brought the thermal imager out and did a scan, went to the attic, and the house is finished, ready to move in. There's no insulation in the attic.
Wow.
So it was signed off by the town, the builder, that it was installed, and there was not a shred of insulation there. Wow. So, nobody checked,
Yeah.
and brand new house, you think it's just ready to go. And that didn't happen once, it happened twice.
Yeah.
So it's to pay a few $100s just to make sure everything's functional and done properly. It's peace of mind. So other things like, the builder or the contractor can't be there 24 hours a day monitoring every trade, every sub-trade.
Mm-hmm.
Little things like, there's a hose bib on the other, on outside. Go to test it, pull the thing right out, nobody installed it.
I've seen that. I've seen that a few times.
Like, so you're expecting there to be water, and say, just easily, all you got to do is connect it. Except they finished the whole basement, now they got to run a line from one end to the other. So it goes from something small to something huge.
Yeah.
So
every house needs an inspection.
every house. So like I said, whether it's brand new or 200 years old, it's good to get an idea of what you're buying.
What's the difference between a pre-inspection and a full inspection?
So this started when the market started to heat up in like 2017, where like a pre-offer consultation, when there's multiple offers and you can't put any conditions into of home inspection or finance or anything like that. So you're going in pretty much blind. So the pre-offer consultation, the way that was born was, I had a client that was wanting to buy a house but couldn't put the inspection in. So he asked me, can you just go in and see what's going on? And so we looked at major items: roof, attic, furnace, AC, electrical. Check for moisture, thermal scan, and anything major. So if those are the big items, and if there's something major, we'll discuss it. And it was just done so if in case he doesn't get the house, he's not paying full price for a full inspection with the report. If he doesn't get it, then what's the use of the report? Whereas this is a little less formal, but gets a great idea of what he's bidding on or putting an offer in. So it started off that way. One was to keep costs low for the client. $350 each time gets to be pricey, but a couple $100 to know what's there. It's not the full thing, checking every single outlet and all that, but looking at major items, like
save you a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still very helpful, because I remember back in like March, like clients want that house. There's so many offers, and we have to go cash. But sometimes, like, I'm not comfortable, right? Like, you can see some things, but you're a professional inspector. You can see like far beyond than any realtor. So it's very helpful to get a pre-inspection done, even if you're in a competitive market. Like it's few $100s, but it really helps you in the long run.
Like if it's an older house, for instance, get a look at the roof, see what condition that's in.
Yeah.
A lot of times, a house before 1945 or 1952 was the last time they installed lead in Windsor. What's the main service line? Is it what material is it? Just that one item alone. If it's lead, to replace that could be $4,000 to $8,000. Older house too, knob and tube. If there's knob and tube there, even just looking at that one item.
Yeah.
If it's a larger home or even a one-story, it could be anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 to replace. Good to know if it has it. And it could be an insurance item. Yeah. Insurance doesn't want any knob and tube or lead or galvanized plumbing. And if you know that's not there, then it's easier to go in, especially if we want to put an aggressive offer.
Yeah, it's going on safe side. So that being said, is there such thing really as a pass or fail for inspection?
So my perspective is I'm gonna supply the client with information. So I present the facts of the home, and then they do as they wish. So to determine a pass fail, if I knew the person really well, I could tell them, hey, this is not the right place for you. But to know what the age of the furnace is, the type of wiring. Some people know, hey, I'm going to go in here and spend $50,000. I just don't want it to be $100,000.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that are like, I don't have enough money for closing costs, so this has to be on point.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got knob and tube. That's it. We can't go ahead.
Yeah.
So I can't tell them whether it's a pass or fail. I'm going to present the facts of the home, and then they do as they wish with that information.
Yeah, I remember a couple of weeks ago we were doing an inspection, full inspection, and you pointed out that there's foundation issues, and we stopped right away. Like we didn't really go ahead because that's just a turn off, right? Like it's big issues with foundation, crawl space, and we just don't want to go ahead. So yeah, like these big tickets items do really matter, and inspections are always important. Has there any been conflicts? So, like when we do inspection, so we work hard for buyers, and we show them 30 properties, 20 properties, 15 properties, we do an inspection, and it doesn't go very well and it falls apart, right? We move on. Like that's why we do inspection, to know what's wrong with the house, and we move on. It's a lot of work, but in long term it helps. You keep the buyer safe and he's happy, bring a lot of referrals, and it's good customer service. But have you ever have a conflict with realtor or buyer or seller where they're like, you don't know anything, something like that?
So sometimes there's been cases where we do the inspection, and say the client is still interested in the house. They'll say, well, we there's knob and tube, or there's seepage, there's a lead service line, the roof is ready to be replaced, and the homeowner didn't know these items, or they just didn't believe that this was the case. They purchased a home with no inspection, or they were misinformed. And then, it's that disbelief, or now they have to disclose these items where they didn't know this before. And, somehow it's my fault that, there's knob and tube in the house. I was just finding these items.
Yeah.
But now that they know, they're stunned at these revelations. So sometimes that information, could backfire for them. But there's been a couple of situations like that.
There needs to be like in your contract, I did not install any of these items.
Yeah.
I only found them.
Sorry for finding it in your house that you live in.
I feel like sometimes people get scared. We say like, oh, we'll have an inspector come in, and that's what we get, right? We're talking about the pass and fail. Well, I always hear from my clients, it's going to pass inspection, it's going to pass inspection. Well, is it going to pass inspection to your standards?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know the year the house was built, and that will tell you half of what we're going to find out, right? I mean, as agents, that's what we're thinking. Okay, well, there's going to be a few things, right? And we pass that along to the client, and immediately, like, the fear sinks in. But no, like, to have someone like you come out, it helps a lot, I find, right? Because not only do you have what's wrong with it, but then we get to talk about what can I do to help fix that? What is it going to cost? And is then determining, is that appropriate to spend for my clients if we do decide to write an offer on this property, right? So it comes full circle, I think, for everybody, just having inspection done regardless, right? Whether it is before, after. Like you said, there's people that are okay, they know something's going to come up. They just don't want to go and spend the over and above that they have to, right? We're talking the difference between 50 and 100,000. That's a big difference in a home.
And if you're a seller and you get an inspection done before, which you do, a lot of pre-inspection reports, we add that on MLS with the listing, it helps to sell a home faster, right? Would you guys agree on that?
It takes away all the hurdles.
If you know what the condition is, people can go in, they see the inspection report, they know roof is good, furnace is and AC are 5 years old. They see the thermal scan's been done in the basement, there's no moisture, and it gives confidence. And then as a pre-listing too, it gives the people selling the home a better feeling that, hey, okay, we got a good product over here, and nothing's going to come back to us after we get an offer or something, or say you get an accepted offer with inspection and get another inspection. By all means, prove the work. Get a double inspection to show it's double good. So better to be and to know that, okay, if there's an inspection coming, but we're fine because they didn't find anything. Okay.
Is there different kinds of inspection? I know we talked about pre-inspection and full inspection. Is there any different kinds that people do, like 5-point inspection, all this stuff?
So the most popular, the pre-offer consultation, going in before the offer. And we're still seeing that today with properties when are seeing, underpriced or under listed, and then a lot of people going in, several offers go in, and then there's a full inspection, which is what I mostly did up until about 3 or 4 years ago. The pre-listing inspection, so that's with the full report and then the sign in front, to do those. And I get people that call me, hey, I'm not sure what the condition of my roof. I'll come and do one thing. If they got an issue with the basement, they get contractors that are one's here and one's here. Come tell me what's actually happening and what needs to happen. So people ask me to do consulting even on a micro level, one thing. Sometimes there's a disagreement on what type of material the water line is. Is this lead? Is this galvanizes? I can come and help them and lead him in the right direction, or with wiring too. There's a few different aspects of the service, but it's mostly the pre-offer consultation, the full inspection. But people call me for even singular items. So I'm not rigid in what I offer and what I do. If there's something, so believe it or not, there's a guy that I did several inspections for, and he sent me to this address, and I go there, and it's a vacant piece of land.
What? Hold on. We didn't ask you for your craziest story yet. Okay.
We're gonna go.
So I call him. I said the address is. I think it's in between these two lots. He's like, yeah, I bought. I want to buy this vacant land, but I just want you to look at it to see if there's anything that I could encounter, like a septic tank or something, because he wanted to build on it.
Take a grass sample.
Yeah. Well. So he trusted me that much that he wanted me to just what the topography, the difference between elevations and houses, what my opinion was on that. And I was like, okay, how do I charge you? He goes, just charge whatever. I just want to know if do you see like concrete, anything that's going to give me a hiccup here for building on this property. So there's not even a house on there, but I'll go take a look at it.
No, that was a good story, and I was gonna get there too. I know you go into crawl space where there are rats and stuff. It gets nasty in there, maybe attic too. You want to tell us about a crazy story you have encountered, that was completely nuts and you didn't expect that?
So there's a couple situations. I guess when I first started, and a little gung ho going into a crawl space, there was an odor that. I probably should have stepped back and take a look at the situation a little better.
Dead smelling one.
But I went into the crawl space, and I was looking around and had my flashlight, and then all of a sudden, I see these eyes looking back at me.
Oh.
And the odor was skunk, and it was like, oh my God.
Oh.
So access is there, skunk's there, and he's just looking.
And Martin's on all fours.
And I'm laying down in my suit, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get this? And she kept looking, so I slowly backed out, and he was just like, don't make any sudden moves, buddy, because you're going to get it.
That's funny.
So from that point, I really, when I look inside, I do a scan. I look, and I want to see what's there.
Smell scan as well.
So yeah, there's that, but sometimes there's nothing there. You never know.
No dead bodies or anything you
no
find?
dead bodies.
Okay,
So
that's good.
There's been a couple times where I've gone to a crawl space and there's been a cat in there, and I'd come out and I'd say, "Oh, I saw your cat. It looks, very friendly." And the homeowner's like,
What cat?
"We don't have a cat." I'm like, "Never mind."
Let's lock this back
Yeah.
up.
But yeah, there's been animals, some friendly and some not.
so friendly.
But
So then we've heard crazy stories. We've heard other crazy stories. What is like the most common thing you're seeing right now in an inspection? What are everyday red flags?
So the most common thing and that I see even to today is poor water management. So many people discount how important eaves troughs, downspouts, and leaders are. It's probably the most
Inexpensive.
but most important part of your house. So water, where there's water, there is a path of destruction. So if you live in a leafy area, get gutter guards. If you have a downspout that's terminating at your foundation, extend it further out. The reason being, water, it's very heavy. It freezes. It causes a lot of issues with structure. Foundations, people think that a foundation is like a dam. It's going to be like a concrete swimming pool and nothing's going to get in. When that is furthest from the truth. The structure there, the concrete, is there to support your structure. It's not there to hold back water. So if there's water, and if there's a lot of water, it's going to find its way in.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to prevent water from coming in is just keeping it away from the house. So, many inspections come in, you see the eaves trough hanging over, water pouring down in one spot. And guess what that tells me? I'm going to check this spot here in the basement and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And chances are we're going to find something.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest thing to maintain. And that will pay the biggest dividends and to keep your investment or your house in good order. Foundation, very expensive to repair. A finished basement that now has seepage, very expensive to repair. And if you can keep the water away and keep the water out, that's the best way to preserve and to prevent mold and mildew and things like that. So that would probably be the number one thing is just poor water management, and it's one of the easiest, most inexpensive things that anybody can do to live successfully in your home.
Awesome. All being said and done, Martin, what is the cost to get an inspection?
So pre-offer consultation, $200, and the full inspection, $375 for a single family. Larger property, duplex. Triplex, fiveplex, be a little bit more, but it'll be around the 375 mark. For pre-offer consultation, generally 200, and that's for anything. And then if we do multiple, usually go down from there. So 200, 180.
And I also want to end with this that, I know we do a lot of pre-inspection, and if you're doing a pre-inspection and there's first two things you find out that, that's a complete off, like we're not going to buy this house because we find these two things which are not good, you don't charge the full price. Is that correct?
Yeah, if we find something right away, then being reasonable.
Yeah.
Not going to charge full price for if we were only there for 15 minutes.
And yeah, I love that about you because I have had people who have charged full even though they were there for 5 minutes. Everybody goes by their rule, but I think that's very fair because if you go there and find out that first two things are wrong and which are big ticket items, so you don't charge full price. I have seen that, and he doesn't.
Well, I'm going to see them again, right?
Yeah.
So, it's no sense. They can save their money to the next time I see them. And then also with the pre-offer consultation, if we do one and they're successful, in purchasing the home. I can come back after they get possession and finish the inspection just for the balance of the fee. So I wouldn't charge any extra to get them the full report.
Oh, that's cool.
So it'd be like the 200, then plus 175, and then they can get the PDF,
For
and
both.
we can do a debrief, do everything all over again, do the rest of the inspection, and then provide them with a PDF report. And I won't charge anything extra.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all we have for today. Thank you, Martin, for joining us. I appreciate all the useful information. And, you know, for any of our clients that have any questions, Martin's number is going to be posted on this video. So feel free to reach out, and you know where to find Gary and I. And, yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
All right,
Lucas.
thank you, Martin.
Appreciate it.